Alright, hi guys and welcome to another episode of Creepypasta Stories and Info. Today, I can do things with my hands, see? Anyway, today we're going to be talking about a, Creepypasta of the month, as, was voted or something by, by Creepypasta wiki. The creepypasta is called Room Zero, so let me just read this to you. It's a decent creepypasta. Hope you guys enjoy it. Alright. Okay. It's been a while since I've written anything related to the Disney Corporation, and I'm sure you can understand why. A lot has been going on since my last post. I've received a lot of questions and concerns from folks who read my first-hand account of Mowgli's Palace, a result that was built and abandoned by Disney. I want to just thank everyone who mirrored my post. It's been taken down from a few places, mostly corporate sites that were easily leaned on by a larger power. However, for every nuked topic or disappearing blog post, it seemed like 100 more have popped up. This is something they'll have to face. There is no turning back for them. None for me either. I'm definitely being followed. For the first month or two, I chalked up to paranoia. Any casual glance or half smile in my direction set me off. Hair standing on the back of my neck and everything. The first one I was actually able to spot, was a telephone worker milling around my apartment complex. He was middle-aged, doughy, dressed just as you'd expect. But something seemed off about him. I couldn't place it. I knew this wasn't just my imagination acting up. He was awkward and out of place, not somebody who was comfortable during doing his routine job. I followed him around a corner, only to lose him there. When I turned to go back home, there he was, staring directly at me, about 10 feet behind me, expressionless and cold. "Exploring?" he asked. That was all he said. And there was an accusing tone to his voice. "Tell me, what blue-collar phone jockey does that?" I guess that's the worst. What? What blue-collar phone jockey does that? Okay. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck. I guess that's the worst part. Never feeling unsafe, never feeling alone. That and the occasional Disney merchandise left somewhere for me to find. Little rubber Mickeys in the mailbox, a Disney Adventures magazine on my bookshelf. There are hiding Mickeys everywhere, 3 circles, one big, 2 small, in the silhouette of the famous mouse's head. I've started keeping a running list of Mickeys I've found. Coffee cup rings on my coffee table. 1 big, 2 small. Coloured glass bottles left on the doorstep, viewed from the top down, all red. Graffiti on the wall on my way to work. A huge earth, a small sun and moon in the proper locations. They're everywhere. People have emailed me about this as well. If you repost anything I have to say, you're going to start finding those son of a bitch outlines, I guarantee it. The best one by far, one that actually made me laugh because of the horror of it, was a drawing in chalk next to my car. I was taken aback at first, walking through the parking garage, keeping an eye out for people following me. The outline seemed a perfect match for, well, a murder victim. You're probably familiar with it if you've read my past posts. Written in yellow, paint, I'm sure, was a single word. Retract. The only good thing that has come out of all this is that I know I'm not the only one who's seen something they shouldn't have. I'm not going to give their names because, well, if I have to tell you why you haven't been paying attention. Researcher goes to Disney parks whenever he can, all throughout the year. He's not going to have fun, enjoy the rides, etc. He's looking for gascots. There's been a long tradition, apparently, of people reporting strange patrons through the park. Silent, motionless, staring patrons of every age, shape and size, men and women, adults, children and teens. All wearing Disney-themed gas masks. Way back when, Disney would get tons of complaints about oddly dressed folks walking around at the park, folks who would merge into crowds and disappear. Later on, the gas masks caused folks to draw other conclusions, and reports of possible terrorists and bombers started flying. All of those reports most likely went straight into the trash can, and I can't find any sign of such occasions reported on by the media although you should have been aware of the fact Disney can pretty much control its press like no other. Alright, I'm going to pause this for a quick sec, I just need to do something. Alright, I'm back, and I can't remember, okay, let me just get back to where I was. Researcher goes to the parks, talks to a few people, and tries not to draw any attention to himself. He'll just ask 3 or 4 families if they've seen his friend who's wearing a funny mask. He has yet to see a gascot for himself, though on one occasion a child pointed to him toward Frontier Town. As he raced through the crowd, he heard a single voice ahead cry out, "Mommy, I want a goofy air mask too!" A fellow old cold lifeguard worked in a Disney water park from 2001 through 2003. He stood at the top of a huge water slide and made sure none of the kids got too rowdy. He passed the kids through one at a time, telling them over and over to be safe, keep their arms in and so on. One day, as he tells it, this fat kid goes down the tube and doesn't come out the other end. He's sent 2 or 3 kids after. The whole thing moves at a steady clip, so naturally you'd expect that if Fatty got stuck, the other kids that followed him were stuck too. Not so. Only the big kid disappears. Everyone else comes out the other end, cheering and splashing like nothing's wrong. Lifeguard shuts down the slide, much to the aggravation of the kids waiting. Before he can go through any of Disney's strict procedures, splash! Fatty finally comes out. Staff members pulled the kid out of the water. He sank like a stone when he hit. His skin already blue and his eyes wide. All he would say was, "No face, kids," and stop squeezing. The kid was okay, in case you're wondering. He got carted right off to the medical centre. When lifeguard was told to open the slide back up, he made a big stink about how it clearly wasn't safe. Despite his complaints, he was threatened with firing and begrudgingly opened the slide again. From that point on, he kept a closer eye on the kids. Every so often they'd come out in the wrong order. Never as stunned as the fat kid, but always with a vague look of concern. A dreamy half stupor that seemed as if they were trying to figure out what was reality. They'd take on some water and choke a bit, and they'd never come back up to ride again. I read his emails with the same sort of unease you might be feeling right now. I wanted him to share his own story, but in the end, he didn't want to expose himself that way. I can't say I blame him. Snow White, which wasn't the actual role she played, was a character in the park. She had a nice little tidbit for me. You know what happens when a costumed employee drops dead in his suit? Yeah. You know what happens when a costumed employee drops dead in his suit? Like, 1 second he's taking a picture of little Jimmy, and next he's had a fatal stroke. A second costume mascot in the area has to sit with the corpse on a curb or bench waiting for his designated dry cleaner to arrive and cart the body away in a discreet manner. All the while, patrons have no idea why they're sitting with a dead body for photo ops. Feel free to check your photo albums at this point. Go do it. Now, I'll wait for 5-10 seconds. Go on. Go. Check your photo albums. Like, I'm just here with no friends and whatnot. Don't worry about me. Just go check your photo album. Just stay. Okay. You're still watching. You're still watching. What the hell? You're still watching. Okay. I'll continue. That was bad, but another fellow, janitor, went completely off the creepy charts. Disney World, and probably others, is built with a series of underground tunnels just below your feet. 3 stories worth. Anything and everything you can imagine is down there for use of the employees. They're called utility corridors. Basically, that's the reason you don't see characters out of place or janitors wandering through the park. They pop in and out of hidden doors and travel a concealed town you're walking on. Janitor told me something that might be common knowledge, but was nonetheless news to me. Walt Disney had several apartments built into his parks. There's one above Cinderella's castle, there's one in Pirates of the Caribbean ride. They're all over the place. More than that, there are nightclubs, a movie theatre, a bowling alley, and so much more, all behind doors built right into the whimsical facades you see passing by without a second look. Club 22 is one such hidden area. If you have the cash to join the exclusive club, you don't, then you'll have access to it and much more. Club 22 is a place where anything goes. Disney calls these places dark zones. Spots where the squeaky clean visage, whatever the fuck it is, of Mickey Mouse gives way to drinking, drugs, and, yes, sex. Conversely, the rest of the park is the bright zone, with a few grey zone utilidors between. As far as Janitor had said, it wasn't always that way. It was more of a slow decline and gradual relaxation of social norms within that elite group. The reason he knows all this? You may have already guessed. He's cleaned it. After a lengthy background check and a non-disclosure form, Janitor moved up from a park attendant to one of the dark zone cleaning crew. Now, before you get some satanic human sacrifice vision in your head, Janitor saw nothing of the sort. Lots of empty alcohol bottles? Yes. Used condoms scattered like deflated New Year's balloons? Oh yeah. He cleaned up his share of blood, piss and vomit. But it was all down to the unrestricted behaviour of patrons as opposed to any sort of cult behaviour. At least, that's how he sees it in retrospect. All that trash, that profane shit, went into a furnace and mingled with the smoke of a cottage's chimney. If you've been to Disney World, you've breathed ultra-condensed sin. Backing up this information was Hammer. Hammer mailed me the old-fashioned way, though I don't know how he got my home address. He sent me photocopies of work papers proving his employment, with the instruction to burn them when I was convinced, which I did gladly. Hammer worked around the Disney World Park, doing demolition and construction. At one point he approached a superior regarding some strange construction plans. There was a wide, rectangular area marked off on the blueprints, about the size of a supermarket. The area was left unnamed, and only bore the words, "Do not dig." Not only was his superior in the dark, but he was super fucking purposely in the dark. He didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to know about it, and ended the conversation with this space intentionally left blank. Hammer didn't get it. The area seemed a waste of space, and it was directly conflicting with the work his team had been given. He started poking around the area in his off time, finding a derelict steel door, and a great span of concrete just beyond. It was a supermarket's worth of blank grey floor. Soon after, the Hammer started picking gascots out of the crowds. Unlike all other reports, the things would stand in full view of the guy. They'd cluster together in distance, or they'd just be pressed against the wall when he turned a corner. He said they moved weird, like they were weak or injured, like a deer that's been hit by that's been run down by a hunter and can't flee anymore. Fuck, finally. The gas mask the Disney character faces with filters jammed in. He noticed that they seemed wet on the inside, like condensation on a car window. Tiny beads of water gleamed behind the glass, making it impossible for any of them to actually see. Probing further, Hammer started asking questions of anyone and everyone who had been working in the park for a decade or more. He hit dead ends throughout, until he was directed to Ida, an elderly woman who worked in a restaurant on Main Street. She'd been there since way back, and though nobody had the balls to ask directly, everyone knew she had plenty of terrible stories to tell. Hammer asked about the empty space, and then about the gas mask costumes. And at first, he thought he would receive the same 9 answers he'd gotten so far. She was quiet. Eerily quiet. "Room 0, she croaked, a single shaking hand placed to her cheek, as if she were a little girl fearing her father's punishment. She didn't meet the man's gaze for the entire conversation. Room 0, as it turned out, was yet another hidden room, just like the apartments on N Club 22. However, its sheer size and its spot deep beneath the park set it apart from and the other fun dark zones. It was a bomb shelter. Room 0 was built to withstand a massive attack, be it conducted by foreign or domestic enemies. Room 0 was to be stocked with enough rations to feed the entire park's average number of patrons at any given moment, and housed a smallish yet lavish paddock room of sorts for Disney higher-ups. Where was I up to? There. During World War II, official Disney gas masks were actually produced for children to wear in the event of an attack. The idea was that it would be less scary for kids if Ricky's face were emblazoned on the wartime safety device. Yes, I know the obvious problems with that. During the Cold War scare of the 60s, when Disneyland was constructed, Room Zero was stocked with similar masks. As well, whether they cared about the fears of children or just callous branding, the things found their way down there. What's more, some genius decided that kids would then be frightened by the gas masks their parents wore, and so all masks, adults and child, were made to comply to this insane standard. Ida described it as treating a wound with lemon juice. None of this explained what Hammer had been seeing, though. Not only the seemingly supernatural appearances, but the emptied out room as well. I've been there, he explained. There's nothing but a cement floor and 4 walls. No, Ida said. Ida shook her head and covered her mouth, lifting a sob. You've been on top of it. You know what? I'm gonna leave it there. It's only got a little bit to go, and so I'm gonna leave it at a really suspenseful part, just because I love you guys. Love you! What am I doing this for? I'm confused. Now I can't stop. Goodie. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys. You've been a wonderful audience. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button in its face. And, whatnot. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you want more. I think I said that by saying punch it in the face like that. What else do I have to say? Comment what you want to see me do next. Thanks for watching. This is Nova Parrot. Oh yeah, follow me on Twitter. This is Nova Parrot. Signing off.